Although I am involved with CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the participants and do not reflect those of CADAC. And now, cue the music.
This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, Andre Brisson.
Hey there, it's Andre here with another short for the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, the podcast for the high-achieving ADHD entrepreneur. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. You can get more information and you can donate at www.cadddac.ca. I hope you enjoyed that conversation I had with Peter Shankman this week about hiring your assistant. And if you haven't, I highly recommend it because I think it was a very good conversation about it. And because of that, and actually because of something that Peter said during the episode, which it just hit me like a ton of bricks and kind of gave me a slap in the face. Said, wake up, idiot. You've been talking about this. You've had an assistant in the past and it worked well. Why haven't you done it in the last little bit? Of course, in the ADHD way, I thought about it for a split second. I said, you know what, screw it. I've had enough. Actually, I lied. I didn't think about it. At that time, I actually was going through a bunch of stuff that I hate doing, and it's something an admin could actually do for me. And I said, screw it. I got to do it. And it's all because of what Peter said, because for the longest time, it was hard for me to justify the cost because with my new endeavor with Tactical Breakthroughs in the podcast, this is separate of engineering, and I have an engineering partner, so I can't really bleed the engineering side of expenses. So therefore, I have an X amount limited fund of cash to make Tacticals move. And I got into a scarcity mindset with my money. So that made me think as instead of looking at things as investments, I was starting to see things as cost, and then VA would be one of them. And the other issue I had too was I got these minimum hours I have to fulfill every month, and I can't technically carry them over to the next month. So what can I give them? What can I do to make up all these hours? Because I do know if it takes me something 2 hours, I guarantee you that admin, they've got that special ability to do that task at probably 15 minutes, half an hour. And I've seen that happen, and it's true. When we do things we completely hate and do not enjoy, it takes 10 times longer than it should. Either because it takes a mental capacity or a part of the brain that doesn't function well for that task, or the frustration level is high and you don't want to do it and you find delays, distractions, whatever. The list goes on and on. So I decided to hire a VA because now I'm completely done being my own admin, because Dan Sullivan does say if you don't have an admin, then that means you are your own admin. And I'm no longer really doing what I do best. I'm just stuck tracking my emails, scheduling appointments, organizing files on the SharePoint on my computer, my laptop, moving emails, taking care of some online banking or setting up, or even like last night, I spent 5 hours booking flights and organizing my schedule, booking hotels, registering for 2 conferences, 5 hours wasted at home, went to bed late. Enough's enough. Doing all those kind of admin things takes away from what I do best, the things that I bring value to my companies and to my customers. Me taking care of my own emails, me coordinating schedules, me chasing follow-up emails for upcoming meetings. Those do not generate revenue for me. What I generate revenue for, engineering-wise or tactical-wise, or even with this podcast, is I'm a problem solver. I think about potential future complications, and I come up with new processes to avoid the future complications. And I love researching to solve new problems. That's what I'm good at. Me sitting, staring at my emails, making sure everything's coordinated for the next day, everything's filed properly. Because me, my emails in my inbox that are irrelevant are noisy and distracting. So I got to solve all that. I got to make sure my notes are up to date. I got to transfer a lot of my notes to other places because I need to write things by hand to remember them. I cannot do digital only, and I need to find that. So I'm doing all that stuff to just make sure everything's in order, but that's something someone else can do for me, and that's what I've done, right? The other thing I'm really good at is I'm a great simplifier of problems and challenges for people, and I help them achieve their goals. be it to build something, to design a building for them so they can build the building for their purpose, their goals, to help ADHD entrepreneurs understand themselves, to identify what they do and do best and what they should be doing all the time. All entrepreneurs, we all have our challenges. A lot of times we don't practice what we preach, but the ADHD brain sometimes has a hard time looking inward. We're always really good at helping others outward. If I can save 2 hours a day, and I guarantee you I'm wasting about 2 hours a day with all this kind of admin stuff. That's why probably a lot of us end up doing 12, 14-hour days, because we do a lot of stuff just to stay, do extra planning and rechecking to make sure we're on top of everything, everything's put away properly so we can find it easy later. So if I can just save 2 hours a day, not organizing my emails, transferring files, posting on social media, I can go and be present more at work for my staff to solve problems than my clients, which includes being more present when I go home because I'm not burnt out doing stuff I don't like to do, because the inefficient burning of mental energy doing stuff I despise and get frustrated with. So if I can be more present, and guess what? That comes with less burnout and more time doing the things that brings me joy, stuff that I enjoy doing and I love doing and makes me a better person. I feel better about myself, then everyone around me feels better too. So once I hire and bring on board this new VA, which last week I sent an email, so that's it, we're done. Let's get going. Don't let me talk myself out of it. Is the big fear now is I now got 4 big things to delegate: emails, file management, follow up to confirm appointments that are actually going to happen. They didn't forget about it or they canceled it without telling me. And moving a lot of my notes digitally from handwritten to digital. So those are the 4 things. And I'm really not too sure how I can get them to commit to 20 hours a month. Then it hit me what I normally tell my team when we're working with their challenges and their weaknesses and them not using their strengths effectively. Is like every time we solve a challenge for them to overcome, when we start, you got a big problem. So you solve that big problem, we find new problems. Why? Because that big problem masks and shadow the other ones. If you take care of that big one, we can see the other ones. And we continue that process. And that never goes away because all we do is refinement. And I think here in this situation, I just finally convinced myself, let's get these 4 big things out of the way. And then I think by removing those big 4, we're going to identify and see other things that I should not be doing that can be delegated to the VA. And I believe in that process because I've seen it so many times. And I just got to say, you know what? I had to convince myself that I deserve it because I shouldn't be doing the stuff I'm not good at. They're good at it. They enjoy it. I'm good at solving problems, simplifying problems, seeing potential future outcomes, and creating new processes and paths to avoid these future outcomes, if they're on the bad side, of course. What I want to do here is right now, I've sent the email. I'm going to start the onboarding process pretty soon. I'm going to make this kind of like a mini series on my progress with the VA onboarding and see what I've discovered about myself and what I can delegate. And I want to share that experience with you because ultimately I think if you don't have an admin right now, I think you should consider getting one or at least delegating a bunch of stuff to other team members that are good. And I did that with engineering. We got a guy who loves Excel and numbers, so I don't crunch numbers anymore. I just come up with a potential solution. They prove it for me. I want to work on this delegating or absolving yourself of tasks that you're not good at and you should not be. Sorry, that you don't want to do anymore. You could be good at it. I'm good at reports. I'm good at engineering calculations and that, but I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. So I delegate that stuff. I'm a problem solver. Let me know what you think. And I promise you, I'm going to keep you up to date on the progress of the VA on future shorts. And I'd like to hear from you. You can send me an email at andre@andreb.ca. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks again for listening and take care.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by Andre Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.